Hello everyone, good day and welcome to our class today. We'll be looking at how to handle null in capital letter in Power BI. As stated earlier, null in capital letter could mean a lot of things, while null in small letter simply means one and only one thing, which is empty, right? Now, in the data set we are analyzing, the null in capital letter is assumed to be engineering staff members who were just employed, all right, but they hadn't done their documentation before the data set was prepared. So we're expected to change the null places to engineering. How do you do that? You first of all click on the column that has what we are replacing, right click the column head, click on replace values, right? On the value to find, write what you're taking of, which is null in capital letter. On the replace value, you type engineering. You type engineering and then OK. This makes this column to be 100% valid. Now looking at the column 3, which is ideally meant to be column 2, but we removed column 2 already because it was empty. Now we have 96% valid and 4% error. Let's find out what's going on. 4% empty. That means you have empty cells, as you can see. And the assumption is that these empty cells are to be called transgender people, right? So we also have to change. Let me show you the empty segment. So let's check only the null so that we see them clearly. Here they are. So they're all transgender from the assumption given to us in the data set we are working with. Alright, so let's see how to change that to transgender. You right click on the column head, go to the same replace values, value to find, null in small letters, replace with transgender, and then OK. You see our column here, our column quality is now saying 100% valid. Now if you look at column 1, it's 100% valid. However, that's the name column, and you can see that these names have 1, 2, 5 at the end of each name, which is not meant to be. It's an error you can afford to ignore, but you can also correct it. Okay, that means in Power BI there are different kinds of error. There are errors you can ignore, errors to correct, and errors to remove. So you need to be certain about the kind of error you're facing and then apply the right steps to handle such errors. So this one we are going to remove it. Now what do? You click the column head and then you right click it. You now go to split columns, right? And then select by non-digit to digit. What this does is to remove those 1, 2, 5 and then have them in a different column, which you will now right click and you remove. Right? Now let's go back. Let's undo. Now if this 1, 2, 5 were at the beginning or before the names, right, you will have done the same thing. However, at the final stage you click on digit to non-digit. Right, I believe it's clear. But since it's after the number, you use the non-digit to digit to clear, so that once it gives you once it separates them, you can now delete this very column, and then you have the names without the numbers attached to it. I think with this, our data is completely clean. As you can see, everywhere is 100%. And one last thing we need to do is to promote the column head. As you can see, row 1 is meant to be the column head, right? So you need to work on that. What do? You go to transform, and then you go to your home tab ribbons. On your tables options, there's a drop down arrow here. You click on it and then click on use first row as header. This promotes the header. You now have the name, colon, gender, department, salary, address, as the case maybe, which is the right thing to do. All right, I think let's stop so far. I urge you to stay tuned. More videos will certainly come your way. Thank you for watching.